Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the February 20th, 2024 Transit Committee meeting. We're meeting virtual from 5 to 7 p.m. And we meet on this third Tuesday, as I said. The Transit Committee is a volunteer citizen board designed to offer input and guidance to the Asheville Transit System and City Council. We do not set or change routes, control Asheville's transit budget, or have authority over staff, drivers, or the management company. We are a group of citizens like you who are here to ensure community concerns are taken into consideration when setting public transit policy. At this time, I'll go ahead and take the roll call. Harvey Harold, I am here. Sandy Aldridge.
I'm here.
Thank you, Sandy. Joseph Chesler.
I'm here, Harvey.
Thank you, Joe. Bill Loftus.
I'm here.
Thank you for coming, Bill. Colin Kitten. Colin.
Here.
Thank you, Colin. Kara Wheeler.
Here.
Thank you, Kara, for being here. All right, we're operating at 100% today. That's a good thing. It's been a while since we had that. Okay, see about my staff, Jessica Morris. Jessica here today. Amber Wagner.
I'm here, Harvey.
Thank you, Amber. Christopher Whitlock.
Yes, here.
Thank you, Chris, for being here. Christina Harris.
I'm here.
Thank you, Christina. Nicole Hart.
Present.
Thank you, Nicole. Okay, LaShawn Abraham.
I'm here.
Thank you, LaShawn. And Danielle Akins.
I'm here.
Thank you, Danielle, for being here today. All right. Moving down the agenda. I take it everyone has read over the agenda and taken into consideration. And at this time, I need a motion for the February 20th, 24 agenda and January 16th minutes for review and approval. May I get a motion to approve these minutes, please?
Motion.
Harvey, this is Joe. I'll move, but I have a comment. Go ahead.
Do you want to do the comment now, Joe?
Well, we need a second first.
Check what?
Need a second.
Then I'll second.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you. I was just concerned the action minutes don't really say anything as to how the conversation went, even though there were no decisions made on those items. I was curious if we could get a little more discussion of what was shared before, on the minutes. If someone were to read those minutes next year, they'd look back and there's no information as to what was discussed other than the subject. Does anyone else agree with that?
Yeah, hey, I'll speak. Joe, I can remember occasions where this has come up in the past where we refer to the videotape as the minutes as opposed to the Word document. I agree with you. I think it makes it near impossible for anybody to chase down what we talked about, but this has been talked about before, and that's been the conclusion.
That's fine. it just appeared to be a little bit lacking in detail, obviously, for good reason. I appreciate that. Thank you. I have moved. It's been seconded then.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Everybody's opinion has value. I appreciate that. Thank you, Joe. We'll go ahead and take a vote on that. Harvey Harold, Chair, I say yes. Sandy Aldridge,
Yes.
Joseph Chesler,
Aye.
Bill Loftus, Bill.
I was
Your
mute.
mic.
Aye.
There
Sorry.
you go. Thank you. Thank you, Bill. Colin Kenton,
Aye.
Carol Wheeler.
Aye.
Thank you, Carol. Okay, moving on down to call of order. On public comment, I have several letters that I'm going to read at this time. One of them is
Harvey, Nicole has her hand raised. Sorry to interrupt. Nicole?
I didn't see that.
Yes, just like
Okay.
clarification, was that approval of the agenda and minutes? The February 20th agenda and the January 16th minutes?
Yes.
It was for both?
That's affirmative.
Okay.
Yes. Instead of doing them at one at a time, we can go ahead and do both of them at the same time. And then we just have a vote on it.
All right. Thank you, sir.
You're more than welcome, Nicole. And as I was saying, I have two comments from public that they wanted us to be aware of, put it like that. So I'm gonna go ahead and read the first one. The first one is from Vicky Meath, and she is from Just Economics. And it says, "Dear Asheville City Council, I'm writing to you on behalf of Just Economics as you approach this year's council retreat and budget decisions. We request that you include funds in the budget to get city staff to a living wage, as well as move forward with transit improvements to increase bus service frequency to South Asheville. As you well know, Just Economics has been advocating for living wages since our inception. However, the last budget cycle marked the last time since 2007 that the City Council has not kept up with the living wage rate determined by Just Economics. Our living wage rate is based on the cost of housing. See our 2024 calculations here. It has a space where you can click on that and see those calculations. And our rate this year is $22.10 per hour, a 10% increase from last year due to the cost of housing rising fast at the pace of inflation. While we understand the rising labor costs are challenging for employers to maintain the rising cost of housing, is extremely challenging for workers to maintain. We stand by the belief that workers who are helping to make our city run should be paid enough to live in, or at least near the city they work for. While our living wage is in a similar range, it is still short of the wage needed to make 80% AMI, 22.88, or meet other accepted living wage calculations for Buncombe County, include MIT, $24.61, or a living wage for US, $24.08. Last year, we added a component to our living wage certification program to allow for living wage pledged employers at $18 per hour. This year is a $19 per hour, with a commitment to raise wages 3% plus inflation until the current living wage is met. However, 82% of employers rectifying or nearly certifying through our program in Buncombe County certified a living wage rate of $20.10. Additionally, Buncombe County and the city of Charlotte are examples of public entities in North Carolina raising their wage floor to $20 per hour or above. Again, we understand the challenge of raising labor costs, the same challenge that other employers are dealing with. However, we encourage you to consider certain ways to just pay and recommend to a living wage for the city of Asheville employees. We believe that living wages are not only the right thing to do for your employees, but also may help recruit and retain employees across departments. Like living wages, Just Economics also has a long history of advocating for improved transit services. We applaud so many of the city council's decisions to fund significant improvements to the bus system from the start of our advocacy in transit in 2014. And we are thankful for the city staff and the transit department who continue to work with riders and advocates to make the system better. While the last transit master plan was approved in 2018, we know that the pandemic created many difficulties and challenges with improving the bus system. The 2018 transit master plan included several changes in the first two phases of improvements that have not yet been implemented, including increased transit operating routes until 10 p.m. and hour extensions on Sundays, increased frequency to add South Asheville, and the free fare weekend trials. Accordingly, multiple surveys of riders have named increased frequency to South Asheville routes S3 and S6, as well as the 170, the route that goes past affordable housing and major employers on the way to Black Mountain. According to the top priorities for improvements, we continue to advocate for improvements in the transit system. However, we do not believe the city should be solely responsible for funding improvements. Buncombe County has become an increasingly unaffordable place to live, and the transit is part of the larger picture of affordability. We believe that the county bears some responsibility to fund community assets that help make Buncombe County a more affordable place to live. Just Economics is working alongside the members of ARTC, our regional transit coalition, and respectfully request that the city work with the county plan for the fund increased frequency of South Asheville. The S3 and the S6 routes run every 90 minutes, meaning the main parts of Hendersonville Road have service around 45 minutes between buses. Adding a route and creating a frequency near 30 minutes apart would closely align with frequency on other major corridors, Patton, Haywood, Merriman, and Tunnel Roads, and increases the viability of using the bus for people who live and work along the Hendersonville Road corridor. I hope you will consider including funding in your budget to work in collaboration with the county to increase transit frequency to South Asheville. We understand that the decisions that come along with the budget are not easy, and the impacts of each decision affect other parts of the budget. On behalf of Just Economics, I want to again thank you for your service to the city of Asheville, for our willingness to make difficult decisions, and for your consideration of our requests to implement living wages and better bus service. As always, feel free free to reach out to me directly with any questions about our request. Thank you, Vicki Meath, Executive Director, Just Economics. Thank you for listening to that. The next one that I have to read is from Richard McKinley. About me to get a drink of water. From Richard McKinley. Okay, good afternoon, Harvey. The following public comment was sent to the city manager, mayor, MMTC members, and transportation staff regarding public transit for today's meeting. Dear council members, I would like to urge you to move transportation ART bus service up the budget priority ladder this year. The plans to increase service and generally improve ART have been kicking around for 5 or 6 years now, but nothing has been done because there is always something else that pops up, putting transit improvements on hold time and again. The purpose of the goal for ART should not only be to offer transportation to people without the means to afford a vehicle. It also should be designed to reduce the number of cars on our streets and highways for traffic congestion, safety, pollution reasons. There are 2 groups of people that should be persuaded to begin riding of a city bus. The 1,000+ city and county employees that now drive in downtown Asheville on weekdays, and the millions of tourists that visit Asheville annually that could be using ART buses to visit many points of interest in the surrounding Asheville area. Promotion will be needed to notice both groups. The incentives will probably be needed to encourage city and county employees in the beginning. Think of starting a citywide program to encourage the use of our transit system. ART Place. I recently learned the land adjacent to ART Station that will allow for the needed ART transit expansion was purchased jointly with Dogwood Alliance and is planned to also feature affordable housing, possible grocery store, etc. Well, as you know, we have outgrown our current station, with some buses not dropping people off on uncovered, with people now dropping people off on uncovered side streets. So then to walk to the station. Putting aside our current electric bus problems, I believe the planning and construction of the new ART station would be a number 1 priority. We should be able to figure out what is needed for a new station without hiring expensive consultants and come up with a budget number and rough design so that we can begin looking for the money. If a case can be made that we will be giving a transportation service to our hotel guests and tourists, there's a possibility of receiving funds from TDA to help pay for the new ART station. Express bus testing. One of the best ways to reduce the number of cars on our highways is to begin testing express bus service from outlying areas, maybe 2 or 3 stops on the CBD, including the courthouse being one, into downtown Asheville. For every 15 to 30 passenger bus we eliminate that many cars from our highways. Here again, the transit department will need to come up with some incentive advertising and consistent promotions. Buses. If having an electric bus fleet is not working out as planned, perhaps a mixture of electric and other hybrid vehicles would be best until the electric bus becomes more dependable. Also, as I have said in the past, the fleet of ARC buses doesn't need all large buses. There are many routes, current and future, that these large buses are not needed, and a 15-passenger van would work fine. Not to mention that the cost of a large bus is many, many times more expensive. Also, potential new bus drivers will probably feel more comfortable and willing to drive a smaller van. Would love to read or hear your feedback, pro or con. Thank you, Richard D. McKinley. And thank Richard for his comments. And I'll be with y'all in a minute. All right. Moving on down the agenda.
And Colin has his hand raised.
Okay. I forget it. Look up. All right, Colin.
Yes. So regarding public comment, I noticed a lot came in this afternoon, 2:39, 3:29 time frame. Is there any way that we can get those a little bit early? Because with my work schedule, I don't have time to read all that, though did get to hear it all. It'd be nice to get it, more in advance to be able to digest it.
What is our
Yep.
deadline, Nicole? What is the deadline? 3?
For public comment, it's 5 p.m. the day before.
Oh, the day before.
Mhm.
Okay.
I think
Yes.
it was just a delay in them sharing. These actually went to other areas first, and it was just a delay with them sharing it with us.
Yeah, that was the case with the letter from Just Economics. I did not receive it, and received it today. So we're receiving it. So possibly what we do is if we don't meet our own deadline, we wait and do it to the next week or to the next month. But our apologies.
Okay, thank you, Amber. It's not my explanation, though. I was pulling my hair out. I had all these things to read at one time.
No, well, I mean, it came to us quick as well. We wanted to share the information so you'd receive it sooner than later, but
More
we
later.
didn't balance the time for you all to read it. Our apologies.
Mhm.
We didn't want to. I also didn't want to leave it for the next time as well. So we will be more mindful of that and adhere to our deadline, even if it's internal.
Yeah, I know y'all couldn't help it, but that's public. Okay, moving on down to Bill has his hand raised. Go ahead, Bill.
Well, so what's our process for? I mean, this is a citizen who's talking to us. What do we do about it? Do we have a method for responding? I mean, that's pretty important.
Did you want to?
I think I talked to Nicole about this too, because some of these also go to, like, we forward them to the MMTC as well. So I think I need a better understanding on how we respond and if we utilize MMTC, if we're just a working group, if they go to MMTC and then we address together. That I'm not real clear on in terms of the public comments and what we've done in the past.
Yeah, it's unusual. I mean, all of a sudden we've had these public
Mhm.
comments. I've been on this committee for a year plus, and I don't think we've ever heard one. So all of a sudden they come in. I think we need, as a body, to just figure out what we do about it, because it's great that people are interested in transit. So let's respond accordingly. Whatever that might mean would be my encouragement of the group.
Yes. Yeah, public comment is good. Colin?
Yeah, we may need to get some input from city attorney, et cetera, because,
Mhm.
typically elected officials don't respond to
Yeah.
public comment. And
Yeah.
so we don't want to get sideways with that.
We will work with our internal and talk to our liaison on boards and commissions on how to appropriately respond, and we can share that feedback with you all next month. We do want you to get all and receive all the information that we receive for public comment. We'll be more mindful on the deadlines, but we do want to share all the information with you.
Thank y'all for sharing the information with us. New business, city and RATP Dev staffing updates, introduction of the new transit planning projects coordinator, Christopher Whitlock. Did you want to introduce him, Amber? Or
Yes, I would. I just want to give you some information on some recent staffings. We are very excited to have Chris Whitlock on board. He started a couple weeks ago on February 5th. He was previously at Marin Transit out of the Bay Area in California. He was a senior operations analyst. He has extensive experience in transit operations and in transit service planning and working with third-party contractors. We're just really excited to have him on board, and I think he's on. And Chris, is there anything that I'd like you to, you want to say hi?
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Chris Whitlock, as Amber said, glad to be here. Ready to get my hands dirty and make an impact on the public transit here. So I'm excited to be here.
We're excited to have him on staff. He's already met a few of you in just the small amount of time he's been here. He met Harvey, and he was able, I don't know if he met Harvey. I think
Yes.
maybe not.
Yes.
Yeah, he met Harvey, and
Yeah.
he met Sandy last week. Harvey, do you have anything else to say? I'm sorry.
No, he's making his presence known down at transit. I just suggested, I suggested to Chris, get on the WE1 about 3:00 in the afternoon and ride.
That's on my to-do list. I'll be doing that.
It's a good experience. Glad you're here today, Chris. Okay, moving on down. Back to you, Amber, RATP Dev.
Yes.
Keith
Yes.
That's the new general manager.
Yeah, he is not on board yet. Mr. Sanders is from Florida, currently at Jacksonville Transit. He will start in Asheville, I believe, March 4th as the GM here in Asheville. He will be attending our next meeting. I just wanted to give you all a heads up.
Okay. Yeah, 13 more days before we meet him.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Glad we're getting all the positions filled.
It's very, very positive, and I'm optimistic. It's great to be fully staffed.
That's a great thing. That is a great thing. Okay, moving forward on the agenda, old business and the UNCA service update. Staff will provide updates on detours currently due to UNCA road improvements and construction.
This is just an information only. We discussed it at our last meeting about the detours on campus, which is we are not able to access the campus loop or any facilities. LaShawn and her team worked. The last time we talked, we were looking at alternative routes along Edgewood as well as up Founders Drive. And LaShawn had communicated back and forth, and they were looking at the option. And then UNC Asheville indicated that it was not going to work for them. And so they are just currently, we're holding the buses at WT Weaver, and they are shuttling riders up and down from the campus. LaShawn, do you have any additional information? We just wanted to provide you all with an update because it was discussed at the last meeting.
Yeah, they particularly didn't want us, decided not for us not to come on campus because they're still also doing construction on campus as well.
Oh.
And that will be at least until May, from my understanding. And they'll provide additional updates as the construction is completed. Well, that's all I have on that one. I just wanted y'all to know that folks had been working on it, and that was kind of the summation of the events that occurred and what is currently being done.
Do they have a completion date on that?
LaShawn, have you been informed? I've just heard May, but I don't know for sure.
Yeah, it was either end of May, beginning of April. I mean, end of April, beginning of May. It's no formal date.
Okay, appreciate that. Thank you, Sean. Moving down the agenda, Patera bus update. Staff will provide update on Patera electric buses, bankruptcy, and impacts on ARC fleet.
This is just an item. It was in the news. I also added it to the memo, which had links to the article as well as the news feature on it. This all occurred after the last transit committee meeting. Last summer or spring, Proterra, which is the electric bus manufacturer that we purchased all 5 of the electric buses from in 18, we received them in 19, filed bankruptcy. And we had previous issues with it, but the bankruptcy has really kind of compounded those after the bankruptcy, we are not able to get parts, and it's really hard to get service. So Proterra is trying to work with us with the existing staff that's based out of Greenville, but it has really created some delays in getting parts. On any given day, we have two to four of the Proterras down. And we just wanted to keep you all apprised of the situation. Our legal is looking at it. We have a battery lease that we are leasing the current batteries on the buses that we're in communication with. It has posed some challenges, particularly with putting additional miles on our fleet, the new vehicles, because these are down. We're not the only ones that this has occurred. There's many nationwide. Chris has actually been doing some initial research, and Broward County. There's a lot. If you just check bankruptcy Proterra, you will see in the news. The electric bus industry is still, working, and this is really a Proterra issue with the bus manufacturer. So the electric bus industry with some of the current bus manufacturers is a lot of systems are utilizing the electric buses in their fleets. Even with range issues, they've made that choice. But we're having some issues with the Proterras. And I just wanted to provide an update, and we're still having issues.
Okay, Bill, I'll get to you in 1 second. Didn't we have 3 of those down?
It's between 2 to 3, 2 to 4 on a given week. Like last week was a good week. We had 4 of them up. The diagnostics on it is difficult because we continually have to use technicians out of Proterra to come fix issues such as like a door reading that it's open, so we can't operate the bus. They continually have to come out. We've got a door that needs to be replaced due to it was a no fault to us accident, which the door needs to be replaced. We can't get a door. That bus has been down since July of 23. These are just some of the challenges. Multiple systems nationwide are sitting on these in their parking lots currently. We're trying to work with the bus vendor. They were bought kind of for parts. So the company Phoenix, and Chris may have more information than I do. We've been doing some research. Phoenix, it's a company, Phoenix Motors or something, purchased the bus manufacturing portion of it. And so they have established new emails. They've taken on some of the existing staff, and they are trying to work with our ATP dev and our team in Asheville. And LaShawn could probably provide more information if you want specific information on how they're responding. I know we're in communication with them weekly in terms of trying to get these parts.
Okay, Chris
these
and
buses.
LaShawn, Chris and LaShawn, did y'all have anything?
I
Well,
just want, go
oh,
ahead, Chris. No, go ahead.
Oh, thank you. No, I can just say, just for our part, we're reaching out to other agencies just to kind of get an idea what, the situation that other agencies are in and how they're kind of approaching that. So we hope to have some more information in the coming weeks, and we can always speak about that next time needed.
Okay, thank you, Chris.
Yeah, now when we do get parts or is able to get a tech to come out, we're no longer in the warranty era. So when they come out, it's thousands of dollars for one person to come out just to diagnose a vehicle. And that's without parts. So it has posed a lot of issues for us.
Yeah, that's sad. Thank you, LaShawn. And thank you too, Chris. Bill?
Yeah, I was just wondering, and maybe your answers have just explained this, but I was going through the maintenance records, and a lot of those e-buses didn't have any hours assigned to them, and I was wondering if we maintain them off-site or something like that. So I just did not know is it our job to maintain those buses, or do we outsource that to a different provider in any way?
We do the preventative maintenance, but I mean, there's one bus that's literally been out since July of 23.
Well, it's just interesting. I went through a number of months just to try to see what was going on and it basically was a count of the buses and everything, make sure I understood the system better. And on the months that I looked at, there was zero, not totally zero, but practically zero logged in the maintenance book for the e-buses. And I just felt that was, wow, maybe we don't even do it. I didn't know. So that was the question. So.
No, we provide maintenance. We can, I mean, if you have additional information or if you want us to pull information, we have provided $250,000 worth of parts and maintenance on these vehicles since they've been in the fleet. They have been utilized a lot less. I mean, you think due to the range, these buses only operate about 4 hours a day, and then they have to charge. So they work about half days, or it's actually not that we get them for about half of their life. So you run around about 150 miles. They only run about 75 miles per charge.
Interesting.
And most of the maintenance is outsourced to Proterra.
Yeah, it is. Mm-hmm.
So that's why I'm not seeing things in the maintenance log, right?
Yeah, probably.
Okay, well that was the question.
Yeah,
and I
that
think I
would make
dug
sense.
into it because the industry literature will say that electric is less expensive to maintain. Now, maybe that's not true for a 2018 electric, and may not still be true now, but that was probably also what I was looking at. What's the comparison in the maintenance cost, E versus diesel or
per
hybrid?
mile?
And,
If you look at these, and we've ran the numbers, and it's actually in that article, like right now, the maintenance on these e-buses are more expensive than on our diesel.
On our 2018 buses, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right.
But
Well, you've explained my question, so
Yeah.
thank you.
Okay.
We just wanted to provide the update since it has been in the news. We've had multiple media inquiries, and this all occurred since the last time we gathered. So we just wanted to provide it so you're aware of the situation.
No, thank you.
And really, Proterra was a battery manufacturer that decided to build buses and provide this. So some of these maintenance issues are just bus issues, and LaShawn indicated, though, when you did bring up that as it all outsourced, the one major issue is that we have to have them come on site a lot to provide the maintenance for these and the repairs. So it's challenging, and we'll keep you posted, but we just wanted to let you know of the situation.
Okay, thank y'all. Moving down the agenda, communications and outreach updates, signage. Transit committee member Carol Wheeler submitted examples of system signage to the transit committee chair, and staff will share signage. That's you, Chris?
Do you want to provide? I just put this on. Kara requested us to discuss it, and it is one of our tasks
Yes, you
moving
did.
forward. Now that we're fully staffed, and Chris will be overseeing our bus stop amenity project. This will be included, assessing, kind of doing a current assessment of the signage, and also looking at the objectives of our system signage. And what we plan to communicate with signage, what needs to be, is the existing sign adequate? Are there different things we can do? Clearly there's resource issues and we'd have to look at cost, but this is on our list of what we're going to be assessing with our system signage.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Kara, did that satisfy any of your thoughts?
Yeah, is there a like timeline or schedule on that for the assessment?
You know, Chris has been here about 2 weeks, and we really haven't gotten down to the nuts and bolts of the timeline on this project. There's been multiple staff transitions, and some of the phasing still needs to be. We need to look and make sure that we're still identifying the stops for priority, that they're still in line since 20 and 22 when these were looked at again. We have worked on an RFP with purchasing for some of these improvements. We're going to let Chris kind of dig into it, and Chris and Jessica and I are going to meet and kind of establish those timelines. So in a long answer to probably a short question or answer, we have not gotten that far yet, but Chris has been on board for about 2 weeks. So it's on the horizon, and it's a priority of the division.
Cool. Chris, and where this conversation kind of started from last time, I'm new to the transit committee. I'm relatively new to bus riding in Asheville, probably started about a year ago, actually riding the bus frequently. And I just found that it was really hard to just look at the sign and know where I was supposed to be going, or where the stop was, or if it was going downtown or to the outlets or wherever it is. And I've got a lot of friends on the bus for their first time, and they don't know how to pay. They don't know, it doesn't say what app to use to get all your information. It doesn't say how frequently it comes. So there just seems to be, a way we could perhaps make the bus signage more welcoming, because, we have a lot of new people who just move into town, and we also have, people who may not have their cell phone right there, or tourists who are coming in. And it just perhaps there is a way to make it more visible.
I've noticed some things myself, and once we sort of get our bearings, I think we'll be able to make at least bring some ideas back to the table here. But I have heard from other passengers as well, similar comments about the signage and the maps, and we'll look at trying to improve those.
Great, thanks.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Carol. Thank you, Chris. Because I had as soon as I left with you and Amber the other day, Chris, there were two guys downstairs right there when you first walk in the building, and they weren't from Asheville, and I was trying to give them some kind of direction as far as to go and, getting on the bus and things like that. But some additional signage, I said, would definitely have helped them. And best thing I could tell them, I said, if you're new and you just want to get on the bus, I said, you can get on one of the buses right outside of City Hall. And I gave them the number, W1. You can go to the Nature Center that way. And so they necessarily said they would like to go, they went there. So, but that would help, a lot of signage to get people where they need to go and where they would like to go. Thank y'all. Moving on down the agenda, Transit Committee member updates and rider experiences. Does anyone have anything to say about their riding experience? Or did you ride the bus this past month?
Yeah, I'll jump in. I had
Thank
a
you,
great
Kara.
experience on the W-2. It was a couple weeks ago. Someone I think was in training. They were friendly, saying hi, stopped the bus at the bus stop. Their trainer was right there, kind of coaching them on it. And yeah, so the training trainer was doing a great job. That was W-2 route.
Thank you. Thank you, Kara. Sandy has her hand raised. Go ahead, Sandy.
Okay, I have about three things I need to touch on.
Okay.
One, I agree with the getting in touch with the county to let the county help, especially with expanding to the south airport road and everything, because people are just complaining about how long it takes and the infrequency, meaning, you know, another bus doing the same route or whatnot. And also someone requested 170 to have another bus, actually, more frequency. Another thing I was going to touch on is driver attitude. You know, talking about all these other things are great, but on a day-to-day basis, what the customers, riders, is their contact with the driver. And that's, I've had a lot of complaints lately. I'll just put it that way. And actually, there are a couple of drivers that should have been gone a long time ago. I'll just put it that way. So I would like to see improvements in that area. But at the same time, I'm willing to submit my thoughts on that. Because there is a driver who I was told has like 70 complaints against them. And nobody agrees with that. They shouldn't be driving if they can't handle people. That's all I got.
Okay, I was writing those down. Thank you, Sandy, for your input. Everybody's input is valuable. LaShawn, you're next in the queue.
I just wanted to ask, Sandy, do you have dates and times for these issues that you're experiencing so that I can look into these?
I'm going to have to get a big notebook to do that because it's happening so frequently. And like we were talking the other day, and I will do that for that too. The drivers getting to the buses on time. People are just tired of that. But as I said, I will document that to where it's just, you can just go down the line and read it. I said I would do that, and I will do that.
Okay, because for us, our team, it's easy if once those experiences come up, it's easy for us to be notified so that we are able to look into it right away. Because if you're having an experience with someone, I need to address it. And if it's constant, it definitely have to be addressed. So if you could let us know as soon as you know or see something.
Yeah, I'll talk to you about that. Just us sometime or another, because I have definite names for a couple of people. So I will talk to you about that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Sandy, and thank you,
you.
LaShawn. Amber,
I just wanted to reiterate what Sandy to what LaShawn said is, you know, as when we met last week, we can pull the information if we have it, so we can pull it so then they can be addressed. And that is the way that we can handle these. And particularly if, you know, someone has had multiple bad experiences with certain operators, LaShawn and the team can address it if you give us like those examples in the times and dates. It'll be helpful and we appreciate it. That's all I have.
okay. Thank you, Amber. Anyone else with updates and rider experience? Okay, well, y'all know me. I got plenty. I hadn't been up to transit, and I think about a month and a half, because I've been busy doing this, that, and the other. But what I've been doing was I've signed up for paratransit, and I don't get on the bus that often now. But I did get a chance to go up there on the 15th, and I had a great experience up there. I was glad I was missed. That's one thing I was glad. I saw drivers that I hadn't saw in a couple of months, and they were happy to see me as just as well as I was happy to see them. They had all kind of jokes and cracks and football, basketball, and everything like that. But I was just glad to see them. They were glad to see me. I'm glad I was missed, and I'm glad to be seen. It's good to be seen, and that's a good thing. The drivers that I would like to give a shout out to that I did see last Thursday was Z, big tall guy. He couldn't get enough words out of his mouth, and he can't talk English that good, but he was just all over himself when he saw me, and I was all over myself by seeing him too. But he's tall and skinny. That's Z. James, that's he needs some help. But James is one of our best drivers. But like I say, jokes and carrying on, and happy to see me. James, Jeff, glad to see Jeff, and Cornbread, saw her. That was when I was up at the station that same day. And we had to get off the WE1 because the oil stick blew out. It was oil everywhere back there. And we had to get off that bus and wait on another bus, which only took probably about 10 minutes, and we were back on the road again. And also, I'd like to give a shout out to Nikki. She's a one of a kind driver. She's good at her job. All the drivers that I'm naming are very good. And Brad as well. Brad's a good driver too. The things that I saw up at the transit were the slots for the routes. That's one place where I always go. They were, all of them were both just about empty. Immediately I took pictures. Immediately I sent them to staff, because I was headed that way anyway. But I sent them to the staff, and went around to the bathrooms. The bathrooms looked good, and the spirit of transit, it was still alive. That's one thing I liked. It was still alive. It's transit. People were getting to their connections, and that was a good thing. And moving on down, I see the things that I've done for transit. The first one was, I think it was on the 27th of last month. So I went to, they suggested some people from transit come multimodal. I didn't see any multimodal there, but I'm quite sure they did show up at some time or another during the course of the event they had at the mall, where they were, the city was giving a 5 to 10 year plan, and they wanted people's input for that. It was all about affordable housing plan to help them plan the city affordable housing funding for the next 5 to 10 years. And I figured that was something worth going for, and it was. I got a chance to fill out a lot of my input, and it was great meeting other city staff, and it was a great experience. I appreciate that very much, meeting them. And then the next thing, I don't want to beat it to death, but I feel as though I should. let everybody know that I'm part of Art C again. That's Art C, Better Bus Together, Writers Assembly, Just Economics, Mountain True. Just enjoying with them. We submitted several letters yesterday to the city council as well as the county commissioners on the 2018 transportation master plan, the extensions and frequency of the S3 and the S6 in South Asheville, for the city county to champion behind our efforts to provide funding and support. The city of Asheville operates the ART bus system, yet Buncombe County has a responsibility to participate in funding community assets that make the county a more affordable place to live. And that was we're still advocating for the extension of hours and the frequency on the Hendersonville corridor. And with that being said, that's the end of my outtake on my experience for the last month and a ridership, which was a good experience, and I appreciate it very much. I love my transit. And at this time, I was also wanting to ask Bill a question. Bill, do you have any updates on your group, or did you want to have those things discussed with you and Amber later on over coffee?
Well, I'll give everybody a highlight. Yeah, I wanted to, and Amber, thanks for responding so quickly. We were anxious to just get with you and share thoughts, and you know, we're not at a point. Well, actually, things have kind of morphed a bit. When we formed, our objective was to try to provide content for the MMTC retreat, of whatever it matters, like what we found, maybe recommend whatever we were at, just to get that group up to speed on transit, because transit's complex. So we didn't go there because the retreat had a different set of topics that we went through. So we didn't get a chance to do that. And so so now a group of us met last week and decided that, okay, now that immediate objective has sort of disappeared, what are we here for? And what we basically thought, I mean, we had some sort of larger objectives in mind, but a real good idea came forward because we've been thinking about just ways in which, is there a way we can just make some type of an impactful suggestion based on what we see. And so some ideas came forward there, and we thought this might be kind of cool. So we hadn't vetted it out yet, so we have nothing to say, but there's a couple ideas that begin sort of maturing, if you will, that anxious to share and get everybody's input on, and we'll see where it takes us. But I wish I could cluster this into a couple of topics. A lot of it has just been around trying to understand how the system works, the current concept and how it flows and all that kind of stuff. Like I was saying, I looked at maintenance record, I'm just studying the system, and the others are as well. There's another angle that we've been thinking about strongly, and it goes around the, and this is mentioned in some of those comments we just saw, the aspect of transit as being another solution for equitable, affordable communities. We are thinking we might make some noise about how transit can be a much more positive solution than people may think as it relates to affordability. We tend to read the phrase affordable housing, and that's very, very accurate. But affordability is about a whole lot more than just housing. And so we've been studying the potential impact of what would a good transit solution look like and mean for citizens if it were successful. And we're holding up the 2036 City Council vision of transit and accessibility, which, to paraphrase, says that we have a vision of being able to live successfully in Asheville without the need of a car. So it's a longer statement, but paraphrase, that's what it's about. And so the question then becomes, if we were to accomplish that, what would that do for every citizen's affordable life? Because we've done some research on how much cars cost. The average vehicle in the United States costs its owner almost $11,000 a year. That's almost $1,000 a month. That's more than deeply affordable housing rent is. And it was in the paper today. The housing that was discussed in today's paper will benefit the 30 or 40 units that qualify. They'll get about $9,000 or $10,000 worth of benefit by having an affordable house or affordable apartment. It's about how much a car costs in today's world. So, not trying to say one's better than the other, but just trying to be a little bit bigger of a mouthpiece around affordability and how transit can contribute as a solution to the city. So that one of the comments was made, it was about, we need to elevate the priority. I think if more people knew that, we could elevate the priority. So we've kind of dug into that a little bit. So anyway, it's kind of a variety of things we're finding. And again, we're not in a position to say, 1, 2, 3, 4, or have anything out there, but it's pretty interesting. We've really enjoyed getting together. And another meaningful thing came up. We've included someone on the P&Z commission in our group to make our maximum 4. So we now have 4. And he was telling us in their last meeting his involvement in our group created some meaningful change from the proposition of a developer that was much more transit oriented. And they came up with a better development proposal because of his inclusion in our group. So that was really heartwarming to hear. So I'll stop there. We've been futzing around with it for a while now. I wish we had something clear that we could say, here's what we've done and here's what we recommend. We're not at that point. We may never be for that matter, but we sure are learning a whole lot, and it's been useful for all of us.
Thank you, Bill. I appreciate that. Joseph has his hand up.
Well, thank you, Harvey. I want to amplify Bill's comments that we're really excited about some of the discussion. The P&Z liaison is designated liaison to the MMTC. So Jared Wheatley has been very helpful in giving us that perspective. So thanks again. We look forward to further discussion and solutions. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to positive things coming out of that group. That's for sure. So keep on giving us updates, Bill.
Okay. I'll just have something ready every meeting. How about that? If we accomplish anything.
We'll be right here for you. I appreciate that. I'm glad you couldn't make it with me on the 27th, Bill.
Yeah, I appreciate your reach out, but I couldn't do it.
Okay. I appreciate it. All right. Is that anybody else have anything for committee member updates and rider experiences? Colin, you didn't have anything that happened to you this month?
I rode the bus.
Thank you.
It was on time.
That's a good thing. That's a good thing. That's a great thing. Okay. If there's no one else, we'll go to departmental updates. I had went over the agenda and I said I didn't go over one other thing, staff up monthly transit updates, and I start reading that. I said, "Boy, Amber's been busy." I said, I said, I said she got this report together. And I said, there's some more to read. I said,
Yeah.
I said, okay. Monthly transit update memo.
I provided you all with the update. That's the benefit of being fully staffed, and you'll see. Well, Chris wasn't on board in January, but we did have the addition of Christina as our grants analyst and Nicole as our grants coordinator. So there's some additional movement on our grants management, and there's been significant progress on our subrecipient work, and we've done some reconciliation of our allocations and unobligated funds. We've had multiple meetings with subrecipients to discuss funding and future programming and planning, and just working towards getting some grants executed, looking at some older funding. It's all laid out here, but that has been really beneficial having Christina on board with Nicole as the coordinator. So you'll see some additional updates with that. I've added a few things, just the council items that you'll see moving forward for next week. Is we have to go through any grant over 90,000 has to go through council action and approval. So these three grants, the 5303, which is planning, the 5310 in JARC, which is the annual call for projects that's overseen by the MPO. We administer the funding, but we still have to apply for this portion of it. And then also is the addition of purchasing 3 biodiesel buses for the city off of a Washington State contract that we purchased from last year. Those items will be going to council. Just wanted to let you know. Joe, just in response to your inquiry about the TDA lift funding, it's my understanding that the TDA lift funding can't pay for operations, and the funds still have to be tourist inducing projects. From the city's standpoint, the city manager determines the city projects that are applied for, and some of the projects fit the TDA requirements objectives better than others. So the city manager, that office needs to be strategic in what projects they select. So transit is not, I mean, that we provide the information. It's just that's how the city worked on the last round of projects. And I think this is the first call for funding, but that is the information that I have. You asked if we could apply for funds. We can't do operations, but that's how the city coordinates on which projects fit the needs the most for those grant funds.
May I comment on that? Well, clearly, I'm sorry for the background noise. I'm at the candidate cafes. It seems very logical to me that transit clearly impacts how people move around in the city. It's an obvious eligibility for two-year funding. Even in this informal discussions with 2 years left, they understand the linkage and not to disregard what is the result of the city manager's review, but it just seems such a logical connection. I'd like to pursue that further, not on this call. We will be looking out for opportunities as well. But thanks, and I appreciate that.
It's breaking up a lot.
Yeah.
Is that it, Joe?
I also did want to add to that when we're talking about grants, there is The FTA just came out with a notice, or it's a NOFA, it's Notice of Funding Availability for bus and bus facilities. That grant is to replace buses as well as facilities with FTA, and that grant is due to FTA through the e-grants process with at the end of April. And the city will be participating, and we will be putting a grant application together and a request for funding for buses. And Christina, myself, and Jessica will be working on that along with Nicole. That will be on the council agenda in the upcoming months before submittal. So we will be looking at, we'll make the request to replace some buses. It hasn't been established how many, but we will be asking for bus replacement in this round of funding.
Okay, thank you, Amber. Bill? And then Colin?
Well, I wish, Joe, I couldn't hear everything you said, but we may be thinking alike. Going back to this was lift funds that the question was about, right?
Mm-hmm.
Amber? Yeah. And so
Yes.
what you said is it's not for operating expenses, it's for infrastructure, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And then you said that's managed by the city manager's office, correct?
I believe so. It's my understanding that the city manager's office coordinates that.
So does transit have any ideas at the moment about what they may want to request, or is there anything yet?
Well, currently I'm not aware of the next call for projects. I'm not real familiar with the process and the TDA lift funding process. We just inquired about it today. I can get additional information. Those discussions might have occurred without my involvement. I do not have the information. I can get the information.
Okay.
On the
Well,
next round of funding. I believe the first round was in November. I think it's phased. I believe there's multiple phases to it. If you're
Yes.
identified for phase 2,
Yeah.
that's from my understanding.
Yeah, just somebody in our group is pretty familiar with that process, and so we knew that it closed recently. The first one did. So I mean, our group may come forward with a proposal. What we would, since we're authorized by we want to share it with you guys. It would need to get MMTC approval, who we officially report to. And so what we'll do is just keep you in the loop on that. We do have an idea, and we want it to get in the next one. So it's good to know how it's managed at that level, and it needs to be infrastructure only. So,
Yeah.
Joe, I don't know if I hit everything that was on your mind, but if you got a clearer signal and you want to add anything, I don't think anybody heard everything you had to say. So I'll stop there.
Okay, Colin? And then Sandy.
Thanks, Harvey. I did have a question about the purchase of 3 clean diesel buses and what defines clean diesel. And I heard Amber say biodiesel.
Yeah.
And I didn't know if these were Volkswagen engines that you're buying, or, at $617,000 a pop, are they more expensive than unclean diesel? How clean are they? And it's hybrid an option. And my follow-up question is, I'm still wondering who we is with Bill Loftus and Joe Chesler, and is that the new transit committee? And how does that integrate? So, but I'll leave it at that. Thanks.
I can provide information on the biodiesel, clean diesel. That's the diesel buses. They're able to operate with biodiesel. Majority of our fleet is run off of biodiesel. A lot of Asheville's fleet utilizes biodiesel. These are a diesel bus, hybrid, as we discussed last year when we purchased vehicles. They no longer make hybrid buses for the size that we need for the system to put on all routes, which are 30 foot. When they transition to the new Allison transmissions, I believe at the end of 22, the fall of 22, winter of 22, Allison came out with a new hybrid transmission. The couple bus manufacturers that made hybrids in this size discontinued it. They didn't do the R&D or the Altoona bus testing due to not the options, such as 35 feet. I'm cutting out a little bit, so I'm going to just shut my camera. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
I just had to shut my camera off. No, so there is 35 and 40 foot options for hybrid, but we have difficulties on our current route network. Our Proteras are 35 feet buses, and we can only operate them on 3 to 4 routes. So we need to stay to currently, without analyzing the service and restructuring it, we need to stick with the size requirements. So there are no hybrid options or electric options in 30 foot. There are CNG. The Asheville fleet has, CNG is not in the sustainability plan currently. So our average fleet has over 500,000 miles on it, and we need to continually replace buses just to maintain. Our goal is a 20% useful life that our fleet should have, and we're well above that. We should be replacing 4 to 5 buses a year, and we're not meeting that benchmark.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Amber. Sandy? Sandy and then Bill.
Okay. First, I'd like to say a thank you to Christina and Amber and Nicole for making this happen like this. Because in the past, it really didn't happen like this. I'll just say that much. And I appreciate their hard work, for the people, because it's so important. And I do believe that people are going to get on as far as, the economy, the way it is. I went to the grocery store and things are going up by the dollar every week or something like that. And just the fact that, they're having to upkeep their car is probably going to become undoable. So I truly believe that numbers will be increasing to ride the buses in Asheville in the future. And we just need to go ahead now and prepare for that, because it will happen. I study a lot, and that's what I think. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandy. Bill?
Yeah, so Colin, I just wanted to answer your question. So as you might remember, it was either last meeting or the meeting before, it was around December, I addressed this committee on the desire of several of us, me and Joe in particular, to create a quote unquote working group, so that we could get more in depth around the transit situations and potential opportunities that we meet here about. And the reason for it is that we don't have time in our monthly meetings to really get deep on anything. We kind of cover the top, but not deep. So we end up, our thinking was we just like to be, get more at it. So we proposed that, and as we talked about it, it was decided, this group decided that such a working group should be authorized more by the MMTC as opposed to transit. And I mentioned in the meeting that the MMTC chair preferred it being authorized by transit, but nonetheless. So when we went back to the chair, he said, well, fine, if you want to do it, do it. He was happy with it. So it's authorized. Just a little bit background on that context is the city has created kind of a model that allows this to happen. It's a way in which so few members can work without all the open meeting policies just to study a topic. And there are number requirements, and so you have to be less than the quorum for a committee or a commission, and a number of other commissions and or committees use the working group model. So it's a legitimate way by which we can accomplish more work as a group, and anybody can create one if they want to, as long as the chair of the committee or the commission thinks it's valuable. So it's a new model that I say new. I'm not sure how new it is, but MMCC really didn't understand how it worked, and we had to figure it out. And when we were talking before, Jessica was real helpful in communicating with the clerk to how does this work, what are the rules, all that kind of stuff. And so it's completely legit. So that based on our quorum, we're allowed a group up to 4. And so the original 3 was me, Joe, and Elise Martyr, who is on MMTC. And then we also have roped in Jared Wheatley, who is he's on a number of different commissions, but he's just real engaged in city stuff. And he's particularly around with planning and zoning, which is really helpful from a transit perspective, because those two really need to go together like hands in gloves need to for proper urban planning. So anyway, that's the group. There's 4 of us. We meet on a sporadic basis whenever we have time. And as I reported earlier, we're just kind of thinking through what our next objective is. And just basically we're studying transit around Asheville and seeing how we could do more than what we're doing now to help make it better. So that's the group.
Thank you, Bill.
Certainly.
Is that good, Colin?
All good.
All right. One more question, Amber. When we're going back to purchase 3 clean diesel buses, I just wanted to know what this included. Asheville Rise Transit System that includes transit accessories and features.
That would include all of the technology on board, the fare boxes, the cameras, the Seon camera, the Clever, the talking bus features, which does the stop annunciation. What else does it have? Also included in this particular one for these 3 buses, we are researching the option, but wanted to include it. We're getting additional information on mobile eye technology which is a pedestrian and cyclist warning system for the driver as well as pedestrians. There's warning signals on the exterior of the buses and warning signals for the driver. It is technology that is implemented on public transit buses. And so we are looking at that. Oh, wait, LaShawn, there we go. So this just has all of the items included on the bus that are extra options and features. It's a bus. It'll be like all our other buses. We received 4 in October, between October and November, and then we received 3 this spring. So they'll have the same features. Noted though, these will not even go on the line until 2025 at the beginning. So it's going to be at least 12 to 15 months before these get delivered.
Well, is that like a laser thing to detect a pedestrian in the crosswalk or in the path of the bus?
There is a sensor, and I have not seen a demonstration. I've seen videos. LaShawn and the folks at RATP Dev have implemented some of these in systems, and they provided us with the information that it's an available option, and it is an option on these buses. I think LaShawn could probably provide better and accurate information than I can. We're still getting the details on this. We'd like to add it to the fleet. We think it would be beneficial, particularly when we were talking about our emphasis on safety and some of our past issues that we talked about with some of the incidents that we've seen this last year.
Okay. LaShawn, did you have anything to share on that?
Yes. So it is the focal point of it is safety, and it's used on some transit systems throughout the country. It's just a extra precaution to safety. For instance, one of the things that it does is when there's if the bus is too close to a vehicle, it'll alert the driver, pedestrians, things of that nature. So it's just an extra precaution that we want to have added to the buses.
Okay. Thank you, LaShawn. Okay, Kara?
Amber, I was hoping you could talk about the on-time performance. I'm specifically looking at the S1, S2, S3. I looked at the data that for January and then also backtracked it all the way to July. It looks like we've been running historically 25 to 30% late for those three routes, and kind of wondering what the normal procedure is for routes that are consistently late. What's kind of our root cause 5Y? Do we start looking at that?
I will let that kind of play. The memo is, we can talk about that in the RATP Devs reporting. And I will let LaShawn and, Chris discuss that.
Yeah.
And we can provide updates on that and how we address the on-time performance based on the route.
And we hadn't got there yet. I was going to get into that.
We can get there.
Oh, okay, sorry. I thought we were.
Oh, no, you're fine.
Sorry about
No,
that.
you're fine. You're fine.
You can just hand it over to LaShawn.
I like your. Yeah.
So
Okay.
are there any, I provided the update. Are there any questions, Carol?
Yeah, we covered that now.
Um,
All right. Operation updates. Art staff. Now, monthly, does anybody want to say anything about monthly reports? Go ahead now, Kara.
Okay, I'll jump in now.
there
Same
you go.
question on the S1, S2, S3 routes. Look like historically for the past 6 months, moving average, they're between 25 and 30% late. What is kind of the next step from the team to start looking at the reasons why they're late?
Yes, so we have, there's heavy traffic. It's due to heavy traffic. So once 26 is backed up, to 40, going into 26 is backed up, all traffic is leading on to Hendersonville Road. So yes, you're right. It is consistently late, both S3 and S6. Those routes are out 90-minute headway. So, we do the best that we can as far as that's concerned. And it's Hendersonville Road, so.
Yeah, I know that road is a mess. I know other cities have, I don't know what technology runs it, but they have the bus timed out with stoplights so that when the bus is waiting there, it kind of whips it through, to continuously try to encourage buses in the city and to do that. Has that been talked about, or is that being done in Asheville?
I do not believe we have signal preemption for the buses in Asheville. I can double check, but from my knowledge that we do not have signal preemption, which is what you're talking about. It kind of extends green lights.
Yes, that.
Yeah.
Like if the bus is just about there, it would keep it on for a little bit longer, etc.
No, we do not have that on our fleet that I'm aware of.
Interesting. Okay.
Were there any other questions from the monthly update?
Well, Colin has his hand.
Thanks. On the rat tip dev report spreadsheet, which is Art OD FY24 spreadsheet, it seems like it's in a different format than we've got it in the past, or it's missing a couple sheets or something is different about it. Then has it changed? Like it used to have complaints on it, and I don't see complaints anymore.
Oh, you're looking at the OD report.
OD report.
Yeah, the Art OD FY24 spreadsheet.
Do we have the wrong one attached? Because there should be a report that has all the complaints.
Yeah. Under expenditures, it's kind of, there's nothing listed under expenditures except for revenue fare box, and
Yes.
it does have ridership data.
Yes, that's the that's not the correct one.
Yeah, that's not the correct report. Why don't can we share the correct report? We can make that correction.
Yes. Give me a second.
Yeah, this is the wrong report now that I'm looking at it.
It's the only report I care about reading every month.
Sorry.
Thank you, Colin.
Yeah, the wrong report was attached. We can provide that updated, which gives all that information, which includes the complaints. Nothing's changed. We just linked the wrong report. Our apologies.
So right here is our current, well, for January, our head count sheet, where this number is, well, I'll leave it there, but we ended the month with 54. Today, we are at 55 operators. We're budgeted for 60. Our goal is 59. We can get 60. We have 6 people in training, and with one that is due to come out of training possibly mid next month to give us 56. And the other ones, the other trainees that we have in training are still doing behind the wheel training, so they'll be going to get tested for their license in about a week, and they'll be cadetting and be able to come out as well. That'll give us where we need to be operators. Here was our accident report for the month. There were a lot of minor accidents, which we did share. Have in our safety meeting in January, we did a shutdown where we had a meeting with our regional vice president and the regional safety director coming to town. And that was pretty productive. I will say currently we're looking good in this department as far as accidents wise. And here is our complaints. There are several complaints on there that we did get took care of. And our roll call sheets is here. And I believe we'll get these sent out to you all in the morning. Our safety and security is here. The events that we have for the month of January. We do our monthly missed trips. We did have inclement weather in January. So we had a late start. We stopped early and then we had a late start because of ice. And that's it for this report. Or were there any questions?
Nobody's in the queue.
We can provide that update in the report. I'm sorry I missed it during my review.
All right. Okay. Anybody else wanted to review any of the operation updates? Any particular one? Okay. Informal discussion and public comment. There's no one. Do we have anybody join, Nicole?
No, sir.
Thank you, Nicole. If there are no more comments, Kara has her hand raised. Go ahead, Kara.
Yeah, I saw a news article this week or last week that is about the airport expansion, how they added 600 parking spots to help with all the cars there. And I was wondering if there's been any effort by the city and by transit to reach back out to the airport and see if there's ways that we could partner together to add maybe more frequency or something like that, because I think that it's the S3 that runs to the airport. It's every 90 minutes. And maybe perhaps instead of spending money on 600 parking spots, we could instead just have a bus that ran more consistently there. It's kind of, it's really hard if you're scheduling flights. That's kind of inflexible to work with the 90-minute. I was just wondering if there had been communication or if there's a way to start that dialogue.
Amber.
LaShawn, Jessica, and myself had a meeting with the airport authority. It was a while ago. It was this summer, I believe, and had initial discussions on potential partnerships and ways we could maybe look at grant funding, different avenues, maybe the needs. They are going through the significant construction, so there is kind of a bottleneck with going into the facility. We'll continue to have discussions with the airport authority, and I know that there has been some in the past. It is on our radar, and we have had communications, but nothing significant has come out of it currently. We will continue to work with them as needed, and to see. Clearly the frequency is needed. It would be S3 frequency would be beneficial to serve the airport and those that want to get there.
Thank you, Amber.
I think Nicole has her hand raised.
Okay, I got my paper hiding it. Nicole?
Hey, Harvey, my apologies. The link for the RapDev report has been corrected.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Nicole.
Mm-hmm. You're the best, Nicole. Yes, she is the best. She wears many hats too. Okay. If there's nothing else, we'll go for adjournment. The next meeting is March the 19th, 2024. I appreciate everyone coming. We had everyone here today. I'm just so happy. It just makes me happy. I appreciate that. The next meeting is March 19th, 2024. Like I always say, everybody's opinion is valued. Thank you. Have a blessed week.
Thank you. Have a good evening. We appreciate your participation.